Welcome to the first episode of the UK UPC Modern Slavery series. I am Marisol Bernal, the responsible procurement lead at LUPC, and I will talk about what is modern slavery and why should we be concerned about it. We are the UK UPC, a partnership between 8 UK consortia who created a formal entity to support collaborative procurement within higher and further education. So what is modern slavery? Modern slavery is the exploitation of other people for personal or commercial gain. Modern slavery is all around us, but often just out of sight. People can become entrapped making clothes, serving food, picking crops, working in factories, or working in houses. According to Anti-Slavery International, 40 million people are estimated to be trapped in modern slavery worldwide, including the UK. 1 in 4 of them are children, almost 70% are women and girls, and over 10,000 were identified as potential victims by the UK authorities in 2019. Modern slavery takes many forms. Here are the most common ones. Human trafficking is the process of trapping people through the use of violence, deception, or coercion and exploiting them for financial or personal gain. What this means is girls groomed and forced into sexual exploitation, and men and women tricked into accepting risky job offers and trapping forced labor in building sites, farms, or factories. Forced labor is any work or services people are forced to do against their will under threat of punishment. It is most often found in industries with a lot of workers and little regulation. Forced labor is the most common element of modern slavery, and it is the most extreme form of people exploitation. Debt bondage, bonded labor, occurs when a person is forced to work to pay off a debt. They are tricked into working for little or no pay with no control over the debt. Most or all of the money that they earn goes to pay off their loan. Child slavery, when a child is exploited for someone else's gain. This can include children trafficking, children soldiers, child marriage, and child domestic slavery. An estimated 10 million children are under slavery working in mines, sweatshops, and private homes. And domestic slavery, which are domestic workers that perform a range of tasks in private homes. Workers in this sector are particularly vulnerable because of the unique circumstances of working inside a private household, combined with a lack of legal protection. Who is at risk of modern slavery? People end up trapped in modern slavery because they are vulnerable of being tricked, trapped, and exploited, often as a result of poverty and exclusion. It is these external circumstances that push people into taking risky decisions in search of opportunities to provide for their families, or are simply pushed into jobs in exploitative conditions. Modern slavery exists in every part of the world, and in the UK can take many forms, including forced sexual exploitation, domestic slavery, and forced labor on farms, in construction, shops, nail bars, car washer, or manufacturing sites. Forced labor is the most common form of slavery in the UK, and over 10,000 people were identified as victims by the authorities in 2019. Why are we concerned? The UK higher education sector is one of the most prestigious and well recognized in the world, and as such undergoes the highest level of scrutiny by not only the global public but also the students that attend these institutions. Our sector exists to do good in the world. It includes world-class universities and large public sector bodies, all working towards making things better for society, and no person should suffer so that we can have goods and services at competitive prices, or provide huge profit margins to those manufacturing, selling, or moving those goods. Modern slavery and human trafficking have always been high-profile issues for the higher education sector. Making a public commitment to identify and mitigate modern slavery risk means that all members in our supply chain must do the same. We don't expect small suppliers to eradicate modern slavery, but we do want them to understand, identify, and mitigate the risk they can from their supply chain. We have a duty to identify and mitigate the risk of human suffering in our supply chains. And last, it can cause reputational damage. Sportswear brands and the garment industry are often called out for the use of sweatshops labor, especially in developing countries, but this happens in the UK as well. And we can see examples here like Boohoo, which was found paying below the minimum wage and workers were too scared to challenge it. And we have also examples of food industry where a Lithuanian man was found exploited in a farm in Kent. The next presentation in this series will explain what is the Modern Slavery Act. Thank you.